They're going to go to f***ing federal prison. Federal f***ing prison.
Yeah. The answer is yes. We're definitely going to do that.
Cash Patel was here tonight. I know he made some news saying there could be a deal between you guys and the FBI at some point. I guess, has there been any further discussions and where you are on that? What might that look like?
Well, after he said that, my phone blew up. You know, everybody wants to be the trainers to the FBI now. But he's dead serious about that. Talk to him about it tonight.
The FBI has just delivered a devastating blow to the UFC world. Top fighters accused of fixing fights, secret betting rings exposed, millions of dollars vanished into thin air. And now, Dana White has sent a chilling message that no fighter can ignore. This isn't just another controversy. This is a federal investigation that could send UFC fighters to prison. The arrests are coming, the evidence is mounting, and the entire MMA community is about to be turned upside down.
Most injuries happen
in training camp.
Which sucks, because that's why most of us have all fought with injuries. That's like the dark truth of the matter. Is it like you'll tear your knee? I've torn meniscus, broken my hand. You know, I one time had like a chip in my elbow for one of my title fights. Like I literally could not extend my arm, and it was like, you know, $15,000 surgery. I was like, oh, well, go ahead and schedule this fight for Tuesday. And then as soon as the fight was over with, I'm like, hey guys, my elbow doesn't feel right. That is 90% of every fighter who says he got hurt in the fight, he got hurt before the fight.
Yeah.
But the way the rules work, he only gets paid if he got hurt in the fight.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. You only get it taken care of if you got hurt in the fight. I fought when I wasn't supposed to plenty of times.
Yeah.
Let me take you back to where this nightmare began, November 5th, 2022. UFC Fight Night 214. A seemingly ordinary card that would expose the darkest secret in mixed martial arts. Buried in the preliminary bouts was a fight between Darrick Minner and Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. To most fans, just another undercard bout. But behind the scenes, a criminal conspiracy was about to unravel. Hours before the fight, something extraordinary happened. The betting lines exploded. We're talking about a shift from -220 to -450, a 4-to-1 favorite. That kind of movement doesn't happen by accident. Millions of dollars were being wagered on one specific outcome: Nuerdanbieke to finish the fight in the first round by knockout or submission. And then it happened. Exactly 48 seconds into the fight, Minner went down. The fight ended exactly as those suspicious bets predicted. Too perfect, too precise, too coordinated.
Guys, I'm fucking sick. Haven't trained for a couple days. I'm going to try not to get kicked off Instagram with this. But anyways, all over the Twitter, all over the news, there was this MMA fighter named Jeff Molina. I guess some video got leaked with him with a dude, so now he's the first gay MMA fighter. But I'm thinking to myself, how do I know this fucking guy's name? Why does it sound so familiar? And he was suspended indefinitely by the Athletic Commission for illegal betting. So we already know this guy's shady, he's immoral, and all of a sudden, dude, his career is like...
That's when the alarm bells started ringing. Sportsbooks flagged it, regulators investigated it, and the FBI got involved. When reporters finally cornered Dana White about the investigation, his response sent shockwaves through the fighter community. Listen, we let these guys know not to bet on fights. Do you know what the outcome of this is? If I penalize them, you get cut. They're going to go to federal prison.
People ask me, well, what were they talking about? Somebody was saying, well, what's the UFC going to do? We let these guys know not to bet on fights. Do you know what the outcome of this is? Like, if I penalize them, you get cut. They're going to go to f***ing federal prison.
Let that sink in. This isn't about fines or suspensions anymore. We're talking about federal crimes, wire fraud, conspiracy, racketeering. The kind of charges that put people behind bars for years. So who was behind this massive operation? All roads led to one man, James Krause.
I take over people's accounts and play for them. Like I post the losses.
I actually hit him up before the fights last night and threw 10,000 on him. He gave me 100% picks.
Right.
Yeah.
And just curious, like the Moreno fight, like fights that you're involved in, will you bet on those too?
Yeah.
Krause wasn't some random gambler. He was a former UFC fighter, a respected coach who ran Glory MMA Gym, and some fighters trusted with their careers and their secrets. But Krause had a dark side. He operated something called the 1% Club. a Discord group with nearly 2,000 members sharing betting tips and insider information. And here's the kicker. He was connected to an offshore sportsbook called abcbetting.ag, where he actually accepted bets from fighters.
He's got so many fighters on the roster. He's a really good coach.
That's all Krause. Like I didn't pick up on the reads. I just do what I'm told, and if I do what he tells me, I'm going to win. I know that.
The only reason that I stay where I am now in Lee Summit, Missouri, is because of James, because I believe that he is the best or one of the best MMA coaches today.
Think about that. A coach with access to training camp information, injury reports, and fight strategies was running a gambling operation. It's the perfect storm for corruption. And Darrick Minner, he was Krause's own fighter. Minner entered that November 2022 fight with an undisclosed knee injury that Krause knew about. When Minner stepped into the octagon, that injury became the deciding factor, exactly as the betting patterns predicted.
One of the most suspicious one is Nuerdanbieke, the win by KO TKO, just plummets as the fight is coming. A guy that had 0 UFC finishes prior to this.
All that, line movement that suggested that people were betting on a first-round finish, right, for Nuerdanbieke.
But it gets worse. Jeff Molina, another fighter from Glory MMA, was also involved. Molina admitted to betting on the very fight that triggered this investigation. He placed bets knowing about Minner's injury, using insider information to profit off his own teammates' downfall. Molina allegedly bragged on Discord that he paid his mortgage, his bills, everything through profits from Krause's gambling network. He was actively recruiting more people into this insider betting ring.
The body language is different. Oh! Molina sits him down with the right. There's now back work on the ground and pounds.
El Jefe, man, he can crack.
Oh, full out. To Silva in a world of trouble.
Jeff Molina is now officially suspended because of substantial involvement in James Krause's gambling scandal. Wow. Okay.
I made the mistake saying, hey, how serious are these guys? How serious is this? As a way of me making money on the side. Turns out, Ariel, they were very serious.
The FBI investigation revealed a massive network of corruption that extended far beyond one fight. We're talking about a systematic exploitation of insider information for profit. Now here's where this story takes a dramatic turn. The FBI investigation has been ongoing since late 2022, and as of October 2025, nearly 3 years later,
1 o'clock that day, they reached out to us and they told us that there was some unusual action going on with that fight. Do we know anything? We called the fighter. What's going on? There's some weird action going on in your bet. Are you injured? Has anybody approached you? And the kid said, no, absolutely not. So we said, okay, the fight plays out. First round finish by rear naked choke. Literally, the first thing we did was call the FBI. People out there talking, oh, there's hundreds of fights. There aren't hundreds of fights being investigated. All clickbait BS.
No arrests yet. But that doesn't mean they're not coming. Federal investigators don't spend years on cases unless they're building something big. They're looking at wire fraud, conspiracy, and racketeering charges. The kind of cases that require meticulous evidence gathering, witness testimony, and ironclad proof. The fighter community exploded on social media. Here's what they're saying. If you're betting on fights you have inside info on, you deserve everything coming to you, federal prison included. Dana wasn't joking. The FBI doesn't play games. These guys are done. This is bigger than people realize. How many other fights were compromised? How many other coaches are running schemes? Low pay doesn't excuse corruption. We all struggle, but most of us don't fix fights.
People ask me, well, what's the UFC going to do? We let these guys know not to bet on fights. Do you know what the outcome of this is? Like, if I penalize them, you get cut. They're going to go to fucking federal prison. Federal fucking prison. If you're that fucking stupid and somebody else wants to do it, knock yourself out.
If you walk in and you have $500, right? And you start playing with $500 and you win $500, get the fuck out of there. Leave. You just doubled your money, okay? Well, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to sit there and win $1 million fucking dollars? I promise you, you're not. I'm not there to have fun. And I don't want their fucking liquor. I'm there to win. So I bet as high as they will let me bet. And if I bet $75,000 and I win 2 fucking hands, I leave.
But some defended Krause and Molina. The media destroyed James Krause's career before any charges were filed. Where's the justice in that? Molina is being made a scapegoat. The real problem is UFC pay-forcing fighters into desperate situations.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things. There's absolutely zero proof that anybody that was involved bet on it. So it's just, there was some, there was some signs out there that something was going, but there's absolutely no proof that anybody did anything wrong. And hopefully by seeing this again in this investigation, it deters people from doing it, from betting on it. The bottom line is this: you're never going to be able to bet enough money to win. It's not worth the risk.
On Twitter, responses ranged from shock to anger to conspiracy theories. I'm starting to think they'll never arrest Krause, Minner, or Molina. This whole thing is deflecting from bigger issues. Sports are rigged. This proves it. Where are the arrests? It's been 3 years.
There's a big difference when you talk about certain crimes, but this one is a federal fucking crime.
Because it's gambling.
And you go to federal prison, that's some real shit.
You mentioned talking to the FBI. Are you directly talking to Cash Patel? I'm sure you do have a relationship.
Yeah, I talked to him this morning, but then we just had an office full of FBI agents in here.
And one of my enemies is in boiling hot shit. And I mean that stinky, smelly, hot lava coming out of me like lava. Cow dung fire. Out of my ass type of shit. Oh my God. You know what I'm talking about. So, my friend Dana White and the UFC are being investigated by the FBI for allegedly fixing over 100 fights. 100. With the latest one over the weekend.
He called the fighter and his lawyer and said, what's going on? There's some weird betting action going on in your fight. Are you injured? Do you owe anybody money? And the kid said, no, absolutely not. I'm going to kill this guy. And, so we said, okay. The fight plays out and first round finish. Literally, the first thing we did was call the FBI.
Dana White officially fires 3 UFC fighters after a fight-fixing scandal, and he's facing backlash from boxing promoter Oscar De La Hoya, who's laughing at Dana White and said the UFC is over. But Dana White fires all fighters and also hires new fighters to shut Oscar De La Hoya's mouth.
Probably about 1 o'clock that day, we're with a company called IC360, and they are the best bet monitoring company in the business. And they reached out to us and they told us that there was some unusual action going on with that fight. Do we know anything? We didn't. So what we did was we called the fighter and his lawyer and said, what's going on? There's some weird action going on in your bet, weird betting action going on in your fight. Are you injured? Do you owe anybody money? Has anybody approached you to, and the kid said, no, absolutely not. I'm going to kill this guy. And, so we said, okay. The fight plays out and first round finish by rear naked choke. Literally, the first thing we did was call the FBI.
What you're about to hear involves serious allegations that could shake combat sports to its core. The UFC is currently embroiled in a potential fight-fixing scandal that has led to an FBI investigation, multiple fighter releases, and a war of words between Dana White and boxing legend Oscar De La Hoya.
He's gonna tap. He's gonna tap. He's acting like he's trying to get out of it because he's trying to sell it. This is insane. This is actually insane. FBI, please investigate this because this was a fixed fight. It was a fixed fight. Isaac Dulgarian was minus 270 hours before the fight. Money comes in on Yadier Davai. Money line and to finish in round 1. That was a fixed fight. FBI, investigate it now. Okay, you just got the NBA. Now check out the UFC. That was a fixed fight.
It all began last Saturday night at UFC Vegas 110. Isaac Dulgarian, a featherweight fighter and heavy betting favorite, faced Yadier Del Valle in what should have been a routine undercard bout, but nothing about this fight was routine. Dana White revealed that the UFC immediately contacted Dulgarian and his lawyer, asking point blank, "Are you injured? Do you owe anybody money? Has anybody approached you?" Dulgarian's response? "No, absolutely not. I'm going to kill this guy."
Hey, I said, don't bet on me unless you're paying me some percentage. I'm doing all the work. That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Like, I work my ass off every day. I'm trying to support a family with this. And I think they should put a like some type of clause, like 3 or 5% of what you make goes to the fighter. So that's how I think they should do it, because we're the ones putting our lives on the line. We're the ones, sacrificing everything, training all day long, losing a social life, all that type of stuff. So yeah, if you're betting on me, I want some of it.
Then the fight happened. Dolgarian offered virtually no resistance and was submitted via rear naked choke in the first round. The performance was so suspicious that multiple major sportsbooks, including Caesars, immediately announced they would refund all bets placed on Dolgarian. Dana White's next move? He walked straight from the octagon to his office and called the FBI.
The UFC is not rigged. It is not fixed. Geez, I can't believe that I have to say this. And the reason I am saying it is because I'm seeing so many trolls all over social media claiming now that the UFC is rigged. I just put some pics on for UFC 322 on my Instagram.
Michael, I need to talk to you about something.
Can't a man just get a bit of peace? My word, I'm trying to relax here.
Sorry, I just wanted to talk about UFC 322.
Whoa. UFC 322? That is my world. What do you want to know, babe? And everyone's like, how do you even make picks and bet on this sport when it's fixed, when it's staged, when it's rigged? Absolute goddamn nonsense, okay?
This is #1 bullshit.
You know it. I know it. There's a lot of people out there, though, they like to talk shit. They like to rip on the UFC. You know who they are? It's the usual suspects, and they're making a mountain out of a molehill because this is an opportunity to talk badly about the UFC.
This isn't Dana White just talking tough. The UFC president revealed in an interview with TMZ that he met with FBI agents twice on Monday, with an office full of FBI agents at UFC headquarters. He's also been in direct contact with FBI Director Kash Patel. White didn't hold back with his warning to fighters. If you try to do this, we will be your worst enemy. We will immediately go after you, guns a-blazing, with the FBI and whoever else we need to get, and we will do everything we can to make sure you go to prison.
But then we just had an office full of FBI agents in here. So, if you try to do this, I've been very vocal and very open about this. We will be your worst enemy. We will immediately go after you, guns a-blazing, with the FBI and whoever else we need to get. And we will do everything we can to make sure you go to prison.
Isaac Dolgarian was cut from the UFC immediately, and the Nevada Athletic Commission moved to withhold his fight purse. But White made it clear, there's no proof yet, but it definitely doesn't look good.
There's no proof that he's done this yet, but I can tell you this, it doesn't look good. It definitely doesn't look good.
What makes this even more serious? Multiple UFC fighters came forward on social media claiming they've been approached about throwing fights. Lando Venata claimed he was approached 7 times. Vince Morales mentioned a $70,000 offer, and Vanessa Demopoulos said people have approached her as well. But here's where it gets messy. Several of these fighters quickly walked back their claims. Venata said his lawyer told him to stop trying to be funny on the internet and clarified it was all a joke. Dana White wasn't amused. Why didn't you tell us that? Why didn't you tell law enforcement? Now you're going to be approached by the FBI.
You're seeing things out on the internet where like fighters are coming out and going, "Oh, I was approached. Really? Why didn't you tell us that? Or more importantly, why didn't you tell law enforcement that you were approached? Now you're saying that you were approached? It's like if somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I want you to rob a bank. I'm going to rob banks. Want to rob a bank with me?" And you don't do it. What, you're not gonna tell law enforcement? It's really weird that fighters are coming out now saying they were approached, and they're going to be approached now by the FBI.
While Dana White was dealing with federal investigators, his longtime rival Oscar De La Hoya saw an opportunity to strike. The boxing legend posted a scathing video on Instagram, absolutely reveling in the UFC's crisis. News came out this week that I cannot ignore, and one of my enemies is in boiling hot shit, De La Hoya said with a smile. My friend Dana White and the UFC are being investigated by the FBI for allegedly fixing over 100 fights. Was anybody really surprised? No.
But news came out this week that I cannot ignore, and one of my enemies is in boiling hot shit. And I mean that stinky, smelly, hot lava coming out of me like lava. Cow dung fire out of my ass type of shit. Oh my God! You know what I'm talking about. So, my friend Dana White and the UFC are being investigated by the FBI for allegedly fixing over 100 fights. 100. With the latest one over the weekend, that was incredibly suspicious. I mean, wow. Is anybody really surprised?
Hell no. He called TKO, the UFC's parent company, scumbags, and warned them to stay away from boxing, get the FCK out of our sport. Everything you touch turns to absolute shti. And now you have the FBI crawling up your ass. Good fucking luck.
Get the fuck out of our sport.
Now get the fuck out of here.
Everything you touch turns to absolute shit.
He's shit everywhere!
Hoya's attack wasn't just about the scandal. He pivoted to criticize the UFC's support for changes to the Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act, legislation that would give promotions more control over fighters. Similar to the UFC model, Dana's shirt is definitely stressed at this point, and he's having a terrible week, De La Hoya concluded. But guess what? I'm having a great week.
And my understanding is that this is not an isolated incident. And what I mean by that is I have talked to multiple people who have either experienced or know of others who experience situations where they have been approached about their willingness to do something like this. So I have been told by multiple people that they have been approached, they have been talked to and said, are you interested in this? Are you interested in throwing a fight for X amount of dollars?
I've been trying to tell you guys, these TKO guys are scumbags. And now they're trying to change the Muhammad Ali Act to fuck boxers over. Get the fuck out of our sport.
Now get the fuck out of here.
Everything you touch turns to absolute shit.
He's shit everywhere!
And now you have the FBI crawling up your ass? Good fucking luck. I mean, look, is there any young boxer who is crazy enough to fuck their careers by signing with your shit league?
No.
They want their own rules. They want their own belt, their own ring, their own sanction to do exactly what they've done with the UFC.
It's all a fugazi.
Which landed them a $400 million suit from former fighters and now a federal investigation into illegal activity.
We just had an office full of FBI agents in here.
I mean, we'll see how that pans out. Dana's shirt is definitely stressed at this point, and he's having a terrible week.
Firstly, what do you think about that? Oh, my friend and training partner has just got to the UFC. So, like, he's potentially like 2 or 3 wins away from like a title shot. So the thing is, if I'd never won a title, I'd never touched gold before, we would have to fight. But now I've done it, I would be like, I'll vacate it and he can have his time.
You know what I think about that before you even ask me. I hate that, you know. Many friends, relatives, name it, have all fought each other before. You know, it doesn't determine whether you are friends with somebody or you hate somebody. You're competing against them to see who the best is. But that's his decision, you know, to even think about vacating it because you don't want to compete against somebody is absolutely insane, but he's a grown man. That's up to him.
Dana White drops a massive bombshell to Tom Aspinall and his father after he wants to leave UFC. Tom Aspinall's first undisputed heavyweight title defense ended in absolute chaos. But here's the kicker. Instead of supporting his champion, who just suffered a horrific eye injury, Dana White dropped a massive bombshell at the press conference that has the entire MMA world in an uproar.
Sir, you were fighting a wonderful first round.
From the brutal double eye poke that ended the fight, to Dana's shocking comments at the press conference, to the MMA community's explosive reaction UFC 321 Abu Dhabi, Tom Aspinall, the newly crowned undisputed heavyweight champion, is making his first title defense against the crafty Frenchman Cyril Gane. The fight was competitive. Gane was moving well, using his footwork and technical striking. Tom was loading up on power shots, showing new techniques we'd never seen before, including a high kick that surprised everyone. Cyril Gane's fingers, not his fist, but his extended fingers, meet Tom Aspinall's face. And we're not talking about a little poke here. This was a double eye poke. Both eyes, simultaneously. The replay shows Gane's middle knuckle going under Aspinall's eyelid and along his eyeball. The left eye poke was particularly deep. Tom immediately signals to the referee, clearly in distress.
Cyril gone in black. Tom
gone. Moving into Aspinall. Oh, nice.
Connect. Aspinall goes hot.
And Cyril Gahn was ranked higher than Tom.
Quick jab from Gahn.
I don't love the spinning.
Leaky here early.
Is he scared? The wolf.
Look like an eye poke there is gone.
He's saying, I can't see. I can't see. The fight is waved off. Tom Aspinall cannot continue. The crowd, who paid big money and flew in from around the world, starts booing. They're booing the champion as he's lying on the canvas, unable to see out of either eye. Tom, clearly emotional and confused, grabs the microphone and says, "What are you booing me for? I got double eye poked."
I know you want to go and get medical attention, but talk us through your thought process and what you're feeling right now.
Guys, I just got poked knuckle deep in the eyeball. Why are you booing? What am I supposed to do about it? I didn't do the poke. I can't see.
He's then rushed to the hospital, where he goes in and out for days, with his vision still affected 4 days later, according to reports. Now here's where it gets absolutely wild. While Tom Aspinall is being rushed to the hospital, unable to see, Dana White steps up to the post-fight press conference. And what does he say? Let me read you the exact quote. "I can't make people fight. You can't make someone continue if they feel injured." Gane had Tom bloodied up, and Tom didn't want to continue in the fight. Only Tom knows what happened. Could he see? Couldn't he see? Only he knows.
And you definitely can't make somebody continue if they feel they've been injured. Only Tom knows what happened. You know, could he see? Couldn't he see? Could he continue? Only he knows that.
Did you catch that? Tom didn't want to continue in the fight. Not Tom suffered an illegal strike. Not Tom was fouled with multiple eye pokes. Just Tom didn't want to continue.
Tom didn't want to continue in the fight, so.
Not Tom was fouled with an illegal strike, multiple illegal strikes.
Dana then went on to praise Cyril Gane's performance, calling him incredible and dominant. He said the situation was a pain in the ass, but that he would rebook the fight. Ariel Helwani absolutely exploded online, calling Dana's comments irresponsible and embarrassing for the UFC. He pointed out that Dana didn't call out Gane once, even though Gane caused the fight-ending foul. Instead, Dana seemed to protect Gane while throwing his own champion under the bus. Ariel Helwani brought up an important point about intentional versus unintentional fouls. He said, "This notion of intentional versus unintentional is the stupidest thing in sports. A foul is a foul. You don't see NBA referees converging to ask if a player meant to commit a foul. The ball just goes the other way."
This notion of intentional versus unintentional is the stupidest shit in sports. Period. Period. You don't hear it anywhere else. Let me ask you guys a question. Yesterday, I'm watching the New York Knicks against the Miami Heat. Crucial juncture of the game. Knicks are down like 8 or so. They have the ball. Josh Hart gets called for an offensive foul. Illegal screen. Do the referees converge and say, like, did he mean to do that or did he not mean to do that? No, a foul is a foul. Ball goes the other way.
And he's right. Whether Gane meant to poke Tom in the eyes or not, it's still an illegal strike that ended the fight. Michael Bisping, a former UFC champion who famously fought with one eye, defended Tom's decision. He said, "If you can't see, you're allowed to say you can't see. Tom is the champion of the world. He doesn't want to go out there when his vision is impaired and potentially lose a fight that was shaping up to be difficult."
The reality is, if he can't see,
tell the truth.
If you can't see, you're allowed to say you can't see. People
Yeah.
might point to me and say, "Well, you fought with one eye." Yeah, that was a secret because I shouldn't have been fighting. You know, Tom is the champion of the world. He doesn't want to go out there when his vision is impaired or vision is massively affected and potentially lose a fight that was shaping up to be a difficult fight.
Even the analysts noted that this wasn't a one-sided beatdown. Yes, Tom had a bloody nose. Yes, Gane was fighting well, but Tom was landing nasty shots too. The fight was competitive, and there's no evidence that Tom was looking for a way out, as some suggested. The betting odds tell the story. Tom opened as a 3.5 to 1 favorite. After this incident, odds makers are suggesting the rematch could be close. Gane might even become the favorite. That's not because Tom quit. It's because the narrative around him has been unfairly damaged.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jason Herzog from starting this contest at 4 minutes, 35 seconds of the first round. We were at the now. This fight is declared no contest.
I'm here with Tom. First, just weeks before UFC 321, Tom appeared on the She Gigs podcast and said something that clearly irritated Dana. Tom's friend and training partner, Ante Delija, had just entered the UFC's heavyweight top 10. Tom said if Delija ever fought his way to a title shot, Tom would vacate the belt rather than fight his friend. Tom explained, "If I'd never won a title, I'd be like, we have to fight because that's my dream. But now I've done it. I'd vacate IT, and he can have his time. I wouldn't fight him. No chance. He's one of my genuine friends. There's some stuff to me that's more important than money and titles."
So the thing is, if I'd never won a title, I'd never touched gold before, we would have to fight because that's my dream.
Yeah.
But now I've done it, I would be like, I'll vacate it and he can have his time.
Really? So if it comes to it, you're just not fighting him?
I wouldn't fight him. No chance. No chance.
Damn. Fucking
no.
props.
That's my
really?
Yeah. That's, so I've got guys who I train with, of course, and I've trained with them for years and stuff. And I've got other guys who are my genuine friends.
Yeah.
And he's one of my genuine friends. I would never there's some stuff to me that's more important than money and titles. And like I say, I've won the title. I've done that.
Second, Tom's father and head coach, Andy Aspinall, gave an interview during Fight Week where he revealed his desire for Tom to finish his UFC contract and move to boxing, where bigger paydays would be waiting. This isn't new, Andy has said this before, but the timing raised eyebrows. Some speculated the UFC might delay Tom's final fight out of spite, as they've done with other fighters wanting to leave.
He has an average fight time of 2 minutes and 19 seconds. You even said in the documentary recently.
Every fight we say, go out, enjoy it, try and do 3 rounds if you can. Let everybody have a good look at you and show what you can do.
Do you want the world to see what your son can do in the octagon?
I'd like people to see that he's a good martial artist, but he doesn't get to show that very often. And as a consequence of that, they just say everybody's in the heavyweight division, which they're probably not. So I'd like it different this time. Show the world that the heavyweight division is not. There's some good fighters in the heavyweight division who Tom's happened to have hit before they've hit him.
So when the eye poke incident happened, it seems like Dana's frustration with the Aspinall camp finally boiled over. Here's the thing. This isn't the first time Dana White has turned on a fighter who dared to question him or hint at leaving. Tom Aspinall had been the perfect company man. He took a world title fight on 2 weeks' notice. He weighed in as the backup fighter for the John Jones versus Stipe Miocic fight. He defended his interim title when almost no one else would. He sat out for 15 months waiting for John Jones to make a decision, only for Jones to retire. The most heartbreaking moment came from Tom's father, Andy Aspinall. In footage that emerged after the fight, you can hear the genuine fear and concern in Andy's voice. He said, "It might be that he lost his eye." It's just a horrendous thing to think as a parent, really. If it's just your son, and they could lose an eye, and their health, and they've got children to look after, something needs to be done about it.
Mike Bisping, he lost his eye. And it's just a horrendous thing to think as a parent, really. And I know what it's like these days with people saying what they want, but if it's just your son, and they could lose an eye, and their health, and they've got children to look after, something needs doing about it.
Tom Aspinall just dropped a bombshell message to Cyril Gane ahead of their UFC 321 title clash, claiming he holds one major advantage that could change everything. Alexander Volkov, who's fought both men, just gave his prediction. All right, let's start with the champion himself, Tom Aspinall. The British heavyweight is set to defend his title for the first time as the undisputed champion at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi on October 25th, and he just revealed what he believes is his biggest advantage over not just Cyril Gane, but the entire heavyweight division.
I think if I hit anybody, I can knock anybody out. And I think that Cyril is no exception, but obviously there are some weaknesses in his ground game that we've seen, but I'm sure he's improved. Do you know what I mean? This is an MMA fight. It can go anywhere, so I'm sure we'll both be ready for anything.
Aspinall claims that because his fights end so quickly, we're talking an average fight time of just over 2 minutes. His opponents have barely any footage to study. Think about that. This is his 10th UFC fight, but he says people have only seen 10 to 20% of what he can actually do. In his own words, if I can go through my career and nobody is seeing me do anything, that's ideal for me because each long fight, the opponent gets to see more and more. Right now, I've got a lot of UFC fights, but people have only seen 10 to 20% of what I can actually do. And that is just a massive advantage.